All right, we got Aaron Trujillo on Burn the Ship. Thank you for joining us. Burn the Ship is an entrepreneur podcast. Really love talking to people that have gone on their own, jumped off the bridge, do whatever, burn the boats, whatever we called this one, Burn the Ship. And it's really just an entrepreneur podcast to tell you your successes, tell you your failures, tell us everything we need to know about yourself. So I'm actually going to hand it over to you. Tell us who you are. Tell us your background. Tell us what you do now, and let's get started. Aaron, what's up?
Awesome. Hey Jay, thank you so much for having me. This is pretty cool. I like that burn the ship. It's that's cool. It's exactly how it felt like when you kind of leave the corporate world or whatever, and you're like, all right, let's do something for ourselves. Well, I'm born and raised here in Denver, Colorado. I've went to high school and everything, and started working when I was 12. I think a lot of entrepreneurs probably have that same story as we start early, and I've worked ever since. First big boy job was at US West, what it used to be called US West, and now it's called CenturyLink. Aware of that, but I did some billing processing there that kind of put me into the telecom world. Um, from there, I did some odd jobs. I've pretty much done a little bit of everything just because I'm just a worker. Went the longest I've ever gone with a job is probably about a week since I was 12. So it's something I value a lot, hard work. Um, and in my 20s, I got a job over in Nextel, telecom, back when it was still around, before Sprint and all that. And ground floor kind of situation. And I worked my way up to being able to travel a little bit and teaching 40,000 some odd customer care reps on how to use the system. I help with a transition to a new system for both Nextel, and when Sprint and Nextel merged, I helped build it out, make sure processes were good and understandable, and then any kind of breaks and any technical support that needed for those systems, I wrote a lot of them. Um, so I stuck with them for about 12 years. So we call myself a process engineer. And so I'm very analytical anyway. That's how I look at things. So process engineer, um, lost my job, and full disclosure, I like to be really honest. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and the from age 22 or so till I left, or I was asked to leave from Sprint because I drank myself out of a job there. I drank until now May 29th, 2012 is my last drink, and started working on that. And 2 weeks later, I needed a job because I have three. I had three daughters at the time, with two different moms, and needed to pay child support and feed him and all that kind of stuff. So I got a job as a canvasser in a large roofing company here in Denver, and did the same thing as I did, 15 years before that, where I just kind of hit the pavement. I knocked on doors, and like in Denver, it gets cold around November. I did not want to knock doors so anymore in my outside in the snow. So I found my way inside the office and found a lot of inefficiencies and a lot of things that I would do over Sprint and Nextel. I saw it in the industry in roofing. Very chaotic, lots of moving parts that just weren't syncing up, and just nowhere else an opportunity to see another company, large company, that could have lined up better and streamlined everything. So from that point, I worked for them for a couple of years and helped build out their system completely, chose a system. And I basically, what I do is I take their processes, a different company's processes, because if a company's in business for a long time, they know what they're doing. They're just really messy, and I try to streamline it up. I worked there for 4 years and left there to work for a financial company that assisted roofing companies. Kind of fell into the roofing and contracting industry, which truly I believe is one of the, when done really
What
right, it's
what financial company did you work with? What did they do for the roofing companies?
what they do is they would basically fund mortgage checks. So when you need like a lot of it's insurance. So a lot of the insurance want to protect their investment, the houses that they're financing. So what they require is the checks to have their name on it, but which means the customer has to go to the mortgage company to get it signed off on to give to the roofing company. That could take weeks at times for that to happen. So the roofer can't start work until that money starts to process. So what we would do there is we would front that money to them so they can get working, and then we would go and collect the mortgage check. It worked really well for a while, and eventually they did go out of business, mainly as a financial in that manner is a great idea. Just I don't, it wasn't as sustainable as it sounded. So,
Well,
and
a
I,
lot of people don't know that. I was asking that because I've known of those companies, and then for a minute the check has to be written to the homeowner, the roofing company, and the mortgage company, all three of them, which makes it even more complicated.
right. And then you add in this financial company who would need the same thing. So then we have to divert to get our name on that check. So we had the time and the people to be able to do that so that they can work. However, eventually, that's a good position for new guys that are just trying to get moving and everything. But the idea is for them to be able to sustain that themselves and be able to have a budget and revenue that's going to help them move things along without having to wait for that first check to get started. And eventually that would happen with a lot of these guys. So, which was great. That was for me, that's kind of the focus. They're learning how to be self-sufficient in their own companies to build their company without having to do those type of things. They can rely on the revenue coming in with a good process, streamlining it and trying to get systems in place to take out all the heavy lifting for them that they were doing in by themselves or manually. So that's essentially where I got the idea. I also there was we were building a CRM there as well, and I managed that and work with developers and that kind of stuff. So when I left there, it was the last time I worked for any company. It was one of those aha moments that, oh, I don't really everything I've ever worked on, I hit a ceiling, right? And he's like, well, I can't go any further than that. And I can't keep doing my boss's job. So I realized like, oh, maybe I want to work for myself. And then this little niche I found was that a lot of these companies, like contracting companies, don't have somebody that has the knowledge that I have or have the technical savviness in that I have, and thought, that's a problem, especially in this day and age where everything's going digital. And one of the industries that we're kind of have been behind is the contracting industry, because it's something that's stuck with paper. It's been around for centuries and a lot of it's been done the same way since then. So I looked at that and thought, man, this is something that could be really useful for companies that don't have that person that maybe people that can learn, but it takes a while to get somebody to learn how to do it and then to build it out and to understand it. So my services is to do that, is to go into companies, help them with just looking at them first and seeing where are the processes that you're doing broken, what are the things that are working really well, and then how can we take all your manual stuff? How can we make it more redundant? So then you're not thinking about what do I do next? Systems tell you what you do next. You just have to worry about doing the thing that you're an expert at. And it could be sales or building roofs or collecting and doing accounting, those type of things. Those are your expertise. A system, you shouldn't have to stay stuck into the system to find out or see when you need to do the thing. The system should allow you to do that. And that's what's beautiful about the technology today and how it gets better and better. It gets into that world where the things that you forget that you do every day that is so time consuming, but it's become muscle memory, right? You put it in a system and realize, wow, I did a lot. And that's why I wasn't getting as much done as I thought I was every day, because there's all these little tiny tasks that you do so automatic that you forget that it takes a long time for it to do for you to complete it in a day.
Well, that's awesome. Number one, congratulations on your sobriety. That's an accomplishment and needs to be recognized. So congratulations on that.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. So there's a bunch of different consultants when it comes out there. And correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you're a technical and a physical process consultant, not like us. You don't go and show them how to canvas. You show them how the workflow should go, so they can be a lot more streamlined within their day to day business. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. It's a lot of it is making it easier for a salesman to do sales, and that's it. And then the internal systems, basically giving a place to like not training them for a week on a system and all the processes, right? Most of the process in sales and internal in most businesses is pretty much the same. I just need to tell them, you do this, get all this information. I'm going to give you a place to put it. And then there's going to be little areas where we can move it along through like a journey type of deal.
Sure.
And so then they're not having to say, okay, now what do I click now? It's more like, here, put this here. And then once you're done, hand it over to this other person. This other person's going to kind of like when you do like a folder, like back in the day, you just grab a folder, then you put it on a desk. And then all of a sudden that folder gets passed around. We're
Sure.
taking the folder out and putting it in a system and then adding things that will automate that process. So you're not
Well,
even
I would
getting
say
up off your
most
desk.
most roofing companies are still passing the folder.
No, 100%. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies like that. And that's where you start seeing where the clients have kind of grasped my clients that grasp onto this technology and they really put in like that effort and they believe in that and they want to get to that techie side of it where it is all paperless and that kind of stuff, or mostly paperless and a lot less spreadsheets type of thing. They, in my experiences, I've seen like increase anywhere from 20 to 30% in revenue over year because they have time back. Sales guys
Sure.
have time. My says you wake up in the morning and you go to an appointment. You don't go into the office to get your lead sheets, you don't, and contracts, all that kind of, you get up, you have your app, you go out and you sell and you spend more time selling, then more work comes in. And ideally the system itself is for the production side of things. It's all this information is coming in. We need production to be able to run smoothly. So if sales guys are giving me everything I need because I'm telling them, just put these numbers in, when it gets to production, production has everything they need and they can do the job. And then
Sure.
they get money faster, right? You get revenue faster if you finish a job fast. And the only reason why you can't finish it tomorrow is because you have so many clients coming in and you have a lot of production going through. That doesn't mean it's not running smoothly. It just means you have a lot of work, which is a great thing to have. It's not because your production process is broken or there's too many things to do or they're not getting the information they need. It's just because sales can go out, open the floodgates, and sell all they want. And then you also take out the idea of like having a special type of salesman in these contracts. I see that a lot too, where you have roofing salesmen that they're looking for the project managers, people that have actually done this trade before and they've sold it. You open yourself up to any kind of salesman. You can teach them to sell anything, but they're really good with people. You're putting people in a place where they're, rather than having the expertise of roofing, that's rolling a dice on. He could be great, but he could be really bad at the door. Or you're getting people to actually do well in that role. They want to work there, but they're not tech savvy, or they don't want to do all this menial work. You don't have to. You just go out and sell. So that's kind of the idea of when I go into it. I look at that. Where's your process? How can we streamline? Where's the junk where are the black holes in your systems? And let's tighten those up and let's simplify it very much simpler. You don't need 18,000 steps to do one thing. You don't need that. And
Specifically talking, I'm sure that when you're talking to these roofing companies, you're probably seeing a lot of redundancy in a lot of different ways. What, specifically speaking, what is the biggest like dam blocker that you're like, hey, let's just take that out of the way? What is that?
um, typically it's the communication between sales and production. That's where a
Okay.
lot of they're not getting the right information. The guys don't know what to give them. Things, I mean, only the hot lead comes in and the hot job comes through, but the follow up is a huge piece with that. A lot of these jobs will just go to nothing because if they have to fight for it a little bit, they
Hmm.
forget about it. And so the systems need to kind of flow through. So there's always reminders, or it's going to somebody else to make those phone calls. So those leads never end. And then once that's through production, that I call it, there's a gatekeeper role that not systems can't fix, just do that automated altogether, but it can help, where that gatekeeper role is where sales meets production, but the person in between there is making sure everything is right, has all the information in there. So it's that last check. Because my feeling about it, production should never have anything that is not complete. And there's no reason why that wouldn't be the case, because you're being told what to give everybody. Then you have a last check, and then production should be able to, like, okay, let's go. But that doesn't happen most of the time. Production ends up getting something because, and because the incentive is get contracts in, because you're going to get paid your percentage or whatever. They get that paid, and then the production team ends up having to go in and call the customer, go get more photos, need to go get things signed, and now they're working way more on not even the production side. They're in the pre-production setup side, where it could have been done earlier in the process.
What do you think that you do very, very well, and then give me something that you probably struggled with at the beginning as a business owner?
Um, I think I do a good job at seeing the beginning and the end, where the company is at right now, and where I see them wanting to go, and also seeing where they can be going through system process. The straight line, basically, I look at it as like I can see the straight line really well, and how to untangle the whatever they have that's working, but it's all tangled up. I do a good job of taking that and creating that straight line for them, so that they can start moving more efficiently. One of the first, I guess my biggest challenge was just learning, like, the separating character and behavior from business a little bit, where you kind of start getting basically the ability to say no, let's start here. I think I spent a lot of time just saying yes, and saying, okay, well, I guess we'll start here then. Even though we're going to end up having to come back here, and it's going to be a big, I would not do a good job at saying, hey, no, this doesn't work, or even saying no to certain clients. It's just not going to work. I think that was, it's still a challenge sometimes. But being able to see where a company is at, and seeing the services that I provide, and see if it really fits. And then when that is, yes, it does, being able to have the wherewithal to say, we need to start here, even though they may not like it.
Yeah, no, totally, totally. All right, tell us how to get a hold of you. Uh, obviously your best client is roofers out there, and is there a certain amount of volume or that they need to be at to where you make sense? And then does it matter where they are? And then tell us how to get a hold of you: emails, websites, phone numbers, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Um, I mean, all types. And I mean, I work with a lot of roofers, contractors, public adjusting companies. I look at any business out there needs some kind of system. It's the same concept of marketing, selling, production, producing, or whatever, and then collecting. The systems that I build really foster that. Doesn't matter, but most of it is contractor space, and or supporting factors in the contractor space. I so and it doesn't matter. I have had one one guy just started a business, and I came in and we built out the system, and then he grew to very large clients. I have one in Florida that is has 180 sales reps. um they have 8 locations, and I built their system out as well. So it goes from both that, then that's like a multi-million-dollar roofing company, to I just started my business. It's a good time to start in the beginning, because then you won't know any other way. It's
Yes.
harder to make the changes, but it's all possible. So that's usually what yeah, but I do take all of them. Best way to get a hold of me is that I do have a website. It's www.atruconsulting.com. You can also email me at Aaron, Aaron, at atruconsulting.com, as well as phone number is You have an office number 720-282-0405. And typically we'll have somebody call and we'll set up a meeting, send me an email or whatever. You can also go on Messenger, and I can send you over a link. I also have we could probably send it with you, a link to my bookings page that you can book some time with me.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Aaron, for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you for doing Burn the Ship. Everybody be kind to each other out there.